Hello friends, good morning, good afternoon. In this session, we are going to see transaction in RDBMS and yeah, there are different states of transaction. Means begin the transaction, then if transaction is successful, then we are committing that. Means commit the transaction, and suppose there is a while running the some queries during the transaction, and if any query fails, then we are rolling back the transaction. Correct? Means there is a suppose transaction is failed, in that case there is a rollback. And one more thing, there is a save point, and we can also call it as a save transaction. Means suppose there is a problem occur in between, and if we have to recover that particular transaction up to the certain point, up to the certain state, then we can save that transaction, and from that step we can roll back. Okay. And in this video we are going to see nested transaction as well. So let's start. Recently I uploaded one video, acid properties of transaction. Means as atomicity, consistency, isolation and durability. So if you want a complete explanation about this, so please go through it. And yeah, and I also written some notes on blog, so learn SQL with sagar.blogspot.com. And here you have to go, there is acid properties, and yes, here means you will get notes and what is the structure or skeleton, and there are some um, means examples as well as syntax and all these things. Okay, so quick recap about the transaction. Transaction is nothing but the block of SQL code. Means it contains the multiple SQL statement. Means let's say we have to uh, achieve any functionality. Means let's say uh, our functionality is we have to transfer the money from one account to the another account. Correct? And how to do that? First of all, there are two persons, means A and B are the two persons, so we are withdrawing the money from A's account, and A is equal to A minus 1000, and we are adding that 1000 money into the B's account. Correct? So B is equal to B plus 1000. And yeah, means we have to write A and B whatever the amount in their account. Correct? So means here are the some different SQL statement. Correct? And we have to write all the SQL statement in a one block, so we can call it as a transaction. Means when transaction is required, actually if we have to perform all the SQL statement in a one batch or a one go, or all the things are necessary, at that time we can use the transaction. Means let's say I am giving you the that example. Let's say here A's initial balance is the 4000 and B's initial balance is the 7000. Okay, and we are means transferring the money from A account to the B account as a 1000 rupees. So here we are doing A is equal to A minus 1000, write A, then B is equal to B plus 1000 and write B. So all the steps we are carried out, correct, on the database. But either all or none. Means suppose if it is in a half finished state, then it is not the good choice. And if means let's say there is a power failure occur, or is any intermittent issue occur, means we are withdrawing the money from A's account but not transferred to the B account, so that is not the good case. So it is database is not the consistency. Means there are four properties: acid means atomicity, consistency, isolation and durability. So transaction following that properties. Correct? So there is a one complete block, we can call it as a transaction. Okay. And yeah, another example is a very simple. Means suppose A account having the 3000 amount, and he's doing the recharge, or means phone recharge or electricity bill. So we are transferring money, means withdraw from A's account and credit it to the electricity bill account. Same thing at here, means we are doing the recharge. So we will get the recharge, means before of that the money is withdrawal from the A's account, and then that 200 money is credited to the miss recharge, miss whoever is the mm, telecom company like Airtel, Vodafone, Idea, correct? So they will get that money and we will get the recharge against of it. Means balance is as a whatever the uh, specification of the recharge. Means here what I have to say, suppose we means 200 is debited from my account, but recharge is not successful. Correct. Means I am not getting that amount. So we have to raise the query. Means that is the means problem is happen during that particular there are six means 5 to 6 SQL statement. Correct. And all the things are required. Means actually all, either all or none. Means there is a no any uh, deduction in my account. Means I say 200 rupees and I am not getting the recharge. Yeah, it's completely fine. And but 200 is withdrawal and I'm not getting the recharge, so it is not the good choice. Means there is a good case, so for that we are using the transaction. We have to work with different SQL statement. Means there is a multiple SQL statement, either all or none. Such a condition is occurred, at that time we can use the transaction. Okay then. And what are the different things of the transaction? Yeah, transaction keep the transaction as small as possible, because suppose we are running a transaction and in the background it log the resources, correct? So if we are holding the log for miss actually more time, then what will happen? Yeah, so the resources will lock and other will get timeout issue or a timeout expired. Such a way things miss we will get from the application side. Okay, that is the impact. So that's why we are keeping the transaction as small as possible. And yeah, miss blocking and locking, these are the some impacts when we are not keeping the transaction as small as and possible. And then yeah, this is the timeout issue and blocking the issue. And then when to use, yeah, as I said previously, there are I'm giving you the another example. Means let's say there is a inventory project, and in inventory project there is a product is the table, correct? And product is the, right now I am taking the example of the TV. Means TV 40-inch Samsung company, correct? And what we are doing, when we are entering the new information about the product, at that time we are inserting that entry into the product master table. Then initial stock, means let's say initial value is the 10 or whatever that opening balance we have to enter. So whatever the stocks we have, so we can enter that, means 10 or 0. And then a stock ledger, means stock ledger is the table, initial stock is the table, and then product master is the table. So we have to insert all of, means we have to insert the entry in all the three tables or none of them. So for that we can use the transaction. Then next thing, while selling the product, means we are doing the minus quantity. Means let's say we have a current stock as a 10 and we are selling the one quantity. So what will be the output? Means our stock will be a 9, correct? So we have to make entry into the sales details as well as stock ledger or a miss or a different tables. Right now I didn't specified here, but yeah, we have to make a entry into the multiple tables. At that time we can use the transactions, correct? Means suppose sale is done but we are not miss doing the minus, so it will show as a 10. But yeah, in the finally we are not getting the actual result, or we are not miss whatever the in and out quantity we can't match. That is the problem, and that's why we are using the transaction. And then PO GRN means purchase order good receipt note. So for that we also uh, should have the transactions. Means suppose there is GRN, so we are adding the quantity. Means let's say we are adding the 10 and previously 10 stock, so 10 plus 10 is equal to 20. So stock ledger means whatever the recent stock of the um, this Samsung TV 40-inch, so it will be a 20, correct? So it is the adding and this is the doing the minus operation. Okay, so means when transaction is required, when we have to perform the entry with multiple tables and all the things are required, at that time we can use the transaction, and it should be a small. Means there is a, means we are putting the thousand size lines of code in a one transaction. So this is not the good choice. Either you can separate the transaction into multiple parts, and then you can use that, or miss all the things are not necessary in the transaction. Miss what I have to say. Suppose let's say I am giving you the real-time example. Swaraj INV is the database, and there is a programmability. 1 minute. This is the real-time example. Means what before of the explaining the SP. So what I'm doing here means I have to insert the data into the bill, 3 to 4 tables, correct? And whatever the requirement means, suppose these are the visit ID, each paid amount, fee. Means whenever there is a OPD consultation, whenever patient is come, at that time we have to make a bill, and we have to insert the data into the charges, into the bill, and bill settlement, correct? So I'm inserting the data into the 3 tables. So these are the input parameters, and in the background I have to insert the data into the multiple tables. So bill ID is what, then there is a service ID. So these are the some internal variables of the particular stored procedure. And then here I'm calculating all these things, means the consultation service ID, then yeah, quantity, then fee amount, all the things I'm calculated here, and each paid or a balanced bill. So and before of the transaction, so transaction is started at here, but there are some prerequisites. So we can keep that prerequisite, or before initial calculation we can keep aside. Means there is a we can do after or before of the transaction. So that's why I'm saying transaction should be a small as possible, because we are inserting the directly whatever. Yeah, it will take fraction of second to insert the data into the charges. Then here is the I'm calling the stored procedure insert bill OPD consultation. So it will insert the data into the bill table, and whatever the bill ID is come out from that stored procedure, so I will get that, and I'm inserting that bill ID at here. Means bill settlement is the table. So this is the stored procedure. If you have to check, then 1 minute, here I'm. So here what I did means these are the parameters I'm getting from outside, and there is a out parameter. So bill ID means whatever the in current session, whatever the ID I'm getting, so I am returning that. Means that bill ID, the new bill ID generated from here, and that bill ID having some value. So I am inserting into the bill settlement table, and then I am updating the charges. And so uh, means the purpose behind of that explanation is transaction keep the small as possible, and whatever the prerequisite in means there is some calculation we have to do, so we can keep means before or after. Okay, means only required things we can mention in the transaction. Okay then, and means suppose there is a any error occurred, so we can rolling back the transaction, and then we are inserting that log. Then what is the syntax of the transaction? Yeah, means here is the stored procedure. In the stored procedure, we can use the transaction. And yeah, one more thing, function is not supporting the transaction. This is the um, just tip. And then next thing, yeah, this is the create procedure, procedure name, and whatever the parameter we have to pass, we can. And then yeah, within the this is the normal flow. Means begin try, then end try, and inside means we are actually we learn it in the exception handling. If any error occurred, then begin try and begin catch, so we can log that error and all these things, correct? So and how to implement that transaction in a stored procedure in begin try, begin means begin try, and end try we have to specify our code, and if any error occur or issue occur, then we can roll back the transaction. And how to transaction start, and so with the help of begin transaction T1, transaction T1 is the name, and transaction name means suppose in one stored procedure there are multiple transaction, and how to identify that particular transaction. So with the help of this is the identifier, and means we can easily identify, yeah, I am starting the transaction and then committing it. Okay, and there are multiple SQL statement. Yeah, correct. And if any power failure occur or is any select divided by zero occur, means there is a some one divided by zero. So divided by zero error occur, or there is some arithmetic expression, or there is a some means intermittent error occur, then we can roll back that complete transaction. Okay, and the next scenario is, let's say, uh, scenario is different, means in a one stored procedure we can use the multiple transaction as well. So here is the transactions 2 is started, transaction 2 is completed, means let's say here there are some prerequisite you did, means there is some calculation, correct, and whatever the values you have to insert, you inserted that. After that there are some post uh, things, means like you did some calculation whatever the data inserted, correct, on that, and then there are some, means we can initiate the transaction 2 instead of making the all the things inside here, because it will hold the lock, and we have to hold the resources for fraction of second, or otherwise you will get some timeout exception, or it will miss, there is a all the miss, there are some queries which is in a suspended mode, and it will take other queries in a pipeline waiting state mode. So that is nothing but the impact in the blocking and locking. Okay, that's why, yeah, means I'm means 4 to 5 times I said, yeah, transactions should be as small as possible. The, yeah, and then we can initiate the transaction to T2, and then we can commit it, and then if any issue occur in T2, so here uh, we have to check, yeah, whatever the result of this one transaction is successfully completed, then no need to roll back that particular transaction, correct, so we can only roll back the transaction T2. So such a like that, and uh, there is a one more thing uh, here, there is a at tran count is the variable. It is the global variable, means let's say once the transaction is started, at that time begin tran is begin transaction is done, then tran count will be a 1, and then commit is done, then 1 will be a 0, means yeah, that transaction is successfully completed. Or if there is a miss transaction started, the tran count will be a 1. Okay, and then if any error occurred here, and then the control is transferred from begin, means that try block to the catch block, and the tran count will be a then rollback transaction will this command will execute, and tran count will be a 0. Otherwise, means whenever we are um, writing the SQL code, so we have to mention only required things, means those are important, means we are inserting the data into the product. Okay, sorry, my bad. Yeah, means we are inserting the data into the product master, then initial stock and stock ledger, correct? So uh, we have to mention only that things here. And then next thing is the nested transaction. Nested transaction is concept, means there is a you started the transaction here, and after that there is a inside it you can start the next transactions, means begin transaction T1, and inside it you can initiate the new transaction as a T2 and commit it first, and then commit the previous one. If whenever such a situation, actually there are some SQL statement like here, otherwise we can commit that transaction here. Okay, so in some cases that situation might occur, and yeah, and the another example of the nested transaction is, let's say uh, here is the one SQL statement, and that SQL statement is nothing but the stored procedure, correct? And that stored procedure contains the begin tran and commit trans, means begin transaction and commit transaction. So that is also the means nested transaction scenario. And next is the save point or a save transaction. So save point or save transaction, it means transaction is back to the certain points without rolling back to the entire transactions. Means suppose here there are three statements, or we can call it as a, yeah, five statements here. And okay, and first statement is means two statement executed successfully, and after that we save transaction as a T1, and then we start the SQL statement as a 3, and after that there is a one error occurred, or after the fourth there is a one or error occurred, means third or fourth SQL statement. Then we can roll back the transaction up to the that particular save point, means here means as a S1. So here instead of rollback transaction T1 we have to make it as a S1, means instead of complete rollback we can roll back at the means part of the SQL queries, or a part of the transaction. Means suppose there is a SQL statement, whatever the insert update is done, and we are saving that transaction, and then SQL statement 3 or a fourth we will get the error, correct? And then once error will get, then we can have that value inside this, means whatever the insert and update statements are completely fine and committed that, and we will roll back till the S1 point. Means instead of rolling back statement 1 statement 2, there is a no need, we can roll back till that point. Or if we are business, as per the business functionality, there is a save point 2 or a 7 means S1 S2 S3, then we can roll back at the certain point or the certain state, so that no need to roll back the entire transaction. And in practical example, let's say we insert the data into the product master, and there is a problem occur while the initial stock or a stock ledger, then it's fine. Means if your business logic is saying, yeah, product master entry is fine for me, and then in the we can check and we can insert the data into the initial stock or stock ledger. Then next thing I have to say one scenario here. Means suppose we started the transaction at here T1, and then second transaction T2, so it is committed at here, and there is a no any statements at here. Then what we have to do, ideally we have to commit the transaction before the T2, and then this transaction 1 and transaction 2, there is a no any correlation, and means inside it, means we are not running the T2 transaction inside the T1 transaction, means till that time it will wait. And so we are just minimizing the time, and yeah, we can keep the transaction as small as possible. Okay then. And this is not the example of the nested transaction. And one more scenario about the nested transaction is, suppose here inside it, uh, we are calling the stored procedure here, call, sorry, exec, and then sp name, correct? Means we are calling the stored procedure name, and inside the stored procedure there is a transaction is initiated, correct? So such a transaction are also called as a nested transaction. Means suppose there is a one stored procedure, and in that stored procedure there is a begin tran and commit trans, means these are used. So such a procedures are, means such a scenario we can call it as a nested transaction scenario. And next thing is we have to see the example practically. Yeah. So in practice database, I am dropping the table if they are exist, and then I am creating the tables. Yeah, these tables I already explained in the previous video, and yeah, I will explain in this as well. Yeah, student is the table, means student having the only three columns, means first name, middle name, and last name. Then student contact information, means student contact ID, and here we are grabbing the student ID, whatever the new value inserted at here. So we are rolling means here, and then mobile number, phone number, and parent contact numbers, means whatever the contact information about the student, we are maintaining that in a student contact table. And next thing is the student identity, means student have the identity like PAN card number, Aadhaar card number, EPIC number, means election card. Then there is a passport number, driving license, and date of birth. So we are maintaining the identity of the student in the student identity information. And yeah, so I created it three tables, and yeah, these are already created. Okay. And yeah, right now they don't have any data. And what is our objective is we have to understand the transaction using the stored procedure. Okay, this is the plain stored means simple stored procedure. First of all, I'm making the control X so that you can easily understand. This is the begin try, then end try, and inside it we are initiating the transaction. And in transaction there is the SQL statement. Got it? And yeah, if there is an error occurred in the transaction, then in begin catch and yeah, begin catch and end catch, correct, this is the block. And in this block we are rolling back the transaction. If any error occurred at here, then we are rolling back it. And then yeah, tran count, as I said before, means it is giving us the whatever the transaction count, means suppose there is a 1 2 3, so such a like that. When commit or rollback, then it count or reduce by the decrease the count, reduced by the 1. Okay, then if any error occurred, so that error information we are logging into the error log handle table. Okay, then I'm making the previous scenario, sorry, miss whatever the previous SQL statement. And in this what we are doing means we are inserting the data into the three tables. Means first of all, I'm yeah, here is the student info, means student table, first name, middle name, last name. I am inserting Mahesh Ramlal Ahire, and whatever the ID is inserted, so we are grabbing that ID using the scope identity function. And yes, we are inserting the data into the second table. There is a student contact. One is the student contact, and third one is the student identity information. So yeah, I'm got and yeah. So here I'm going to insert the data in the third table, student identity information. This is the plain stored procedure. So we have to execute that in. So here insert student data. Got it? Insert student data. I am calling here from here, and yes, three records are inserted, right? And why we used transaction at here? Because we want data in all row or none of them. That's why we use the transaction. Got it? And we use the minimal things. Means there is any other thing, means like calculation or anything we can do outside the transaction, or a prerequisite information is any calculation, so we can do that. And then in means in a transaction block, we have to say, means we have to keep the minimal statement, means those are required, only those we have to keep here, means all of them those are necessary, means all of or none of them. And then next thing, So we have a data in three tables, but yeah, uh, there is a problem occurred when we are inserting the data at the means in the third table. So here select 1 divided by 0, this error occur. And so I am going to, first of all, I am truncating the data, means whatever the previous tables and error log handled, correct. So if we are going to select it, we don't have any data, and then call the stored procedure. So yes, here is the tran count in main sp cache block is the, it is the main, means actually we printed, sorry, we selected tran count in the main stored procedure cache block. Here you could see there is a first statement will execute, second will is execute, and then here we are getting the error. So once the error is actual means occurred in the transaction, means this block, then control is passed from try block to the catch block, and we are rolling back the transaction, and then we are selecting the tran count, right. Means as I said, when here same statement I used, mm, then tran count become a 1, and once we are rolling back, then tran count will be a 0. Okay, and then we are logging the error. If you select the error log table, then you will get, yeah, insert student data divided by 0 in count, error encountered. And yes, after that there is a, I am running the same query again, means going to execute the same query. So right now we don't have data, and so tran count in main block sp means catch block. So here is the try block we have to mention. So here tran count will be a 1, as I said, correct. And then there is a no column name, means no column name is here. There is a select 1 divided by 0, and then tran count here is the showing as a 0 value. 0 value, it means, yeah, it increased by 1 and then decreased by the 1, means at the end it is the, means we completed that particular transaction. If there is a normal flow, then commit will execute, and then a transaction count will be a 0. If suppose there is a no any error occurred, got it. Let's say I have to show that value to you. Then run count in main sp after commit block. Okay, and first of all I am truncating information, and then execute the stored procedure. So here you can see there is a, after the tran count, means sorry, after the begin transaction tran count will be a 1, and after the commit the tran count will be a 0, because there is a no any error occurred, and finally we are getting the as a tran count 0, means either from 0 is decrease, commit from decrease, and then when we are starting the transaction it will increase by 1. And same thing, suppose if there is a stored procedure we are calling, so transaction count is started as a, miss, once it is started, then tran count will be the 1, and then in the child stored procedure tran count will be a 2, because yeah, inside it we starting the transaction, and then transaction count will be the 2. Okay, and as in this scenario, uh, previous I said, suppose execute sp, and transaction count will be, first of all, it will increase by 1, means 0 to 1 will be at here. Then commit, then again it's 0. Then in stored procedure, we are calling the stored procedure and it contain the transaction like a begin run. So it will become a 1. And then once we are committing the stored procedure, means commit the statement in the stored procedure, then it will be a 0. Got it? Means here is the no any nested things. And if we are calling inside the, means here, means we are calling the stored procedure, so that stored procedure contain the transaction, then it will be a 1 2 and then decrease by 1. Okay. Then next thing is save point. Save point is the point in transaction in which you can roll back the transaction to a certain point without rolling back the entire transaction. Means let's say in this case, means we are starting the transaction and committing the transaction, correct? But in between there is an error occurred after the for statement, so we have to roll back everything, means whatever the inside. So all the things will be a rollback. So how to save that particular transaction up to the certain level, means let's say statement 1 will execute, statement 2 will execute, then after that we save the transaction, sorry, save transaction as a yes1. So and then here SQL statement will execute, SQL statement 4 will execute, and after the execution there will error occur. Then control is passed from here to catch block, and what we are written here, roll back the transaction T1. So entire transaction will roll back. If we write rollback transaction S1, means till the here, means first statement and second statement execution result will keep permanently saved in a database because we saved the transaction, and after that third fourth will not available in the database, means till the statement 2 it is permanently available, but after the third, means after the S1 it is not, means third fourth and fifth obviously not executed, but yeah, up to the for these two statement execution result will not available in the database. And yeah, means at least we can have a result of this two statement in the database and means table. And means instead of rolling back the entire transaction, we can roll back up to the certain point. So that is nothing but the save transaction. Yeah, let's see it practically. uh, First of all, uh, we will see nested transaction and then uh, save point here. And here this is the normal flow, means begin transaction, and there are three statement inside it, means one is the insert student contact, and then student identity information, means we are inserting into the data three tables, uh, inserting data into the three tables. So yeah, I'm truncating it whatever the result we have, and yeah, selecting it, no any data, correct. And I have to implement the third, means first statement will execute at here, second statement will execute at here, and I created one stored procedure called as a style stored procedure, and it contain this statement. So I am making it as a comment or a simply cut, you know, and child stored procedure contain that statement, means student identity information. And here you could see there is a student ID is the parameter which is getting from the parent stored procedure. Got it? And we are inserting same, right? And we have to just call this stored procedure into the main stored procedure. So call here and then sorry exec child sp. Yeah, that's it. So we required the one parameter as a student id. Okay, and then execute it. And first of all, we don't have any data, and execute the stored procedure. So yeah, run count in main sp block is it 1, and run count into the child sp, so it will be a 2. Means first of all it is 1 here, and then it is inside there is a child sp, there is a select count as a run count in, so it is 2, correct. And once we commit it, so it will be a 2 minus 1 1 here, and then after that this block will again transfer to the main block. Yeah, at here, and then commit the transaction as a t1, and then it will be a from 1 to 0 as a run count. And next thing, here we implemented as a nested transaction, right? Means this code will call, and if there is an error, so it will log in the error log handle table. Got it? And suppose error occurred in the child stored procedure, means one insert done, second insert done, and in the child stored procedure error is occurred, then what will happen? Let's see. I am making as a select 1 divided by in the child stored procedure, execute it, and then yeah, it is just for the execute it, and previous it having the value. So I am truncating the three tables, and then I'm going to execute main sp call. So here run count in main sp1, then run count child sp is calling as a 1 1 plus 1 2, then 2. Here there is a no any column name, means it is not decrease, means there is a rollback case happened, and there is a no any data inside the table, you see. Then next thing we will see the practical implementation of save transaction or a save point. Here I inserted two records, means one in a student and one in a student contact, and same thing I am inserting the next record, means for one for Mahesh and one for Ajay, and I am saving the transaction in between here. And then after the second insertion done, then I am saving the transaction, correct. And in child stored procedure, so it is the child stored procedure, it is calling from here, means here I am not going to create the error. First of all, I am executing it, and yeah, so this is the happy flow. Okay, and here rollback transaction T1, means normally if any error occurred, so we are recovering complete transaction. Okay, so I am executing. So right now table have any data? No, correct. So just execute the stored procedure. Yeah, miss, it is showing us, yeah, transaction count in main sp1, and then child stored procedure there is a count 2. And if we are selecting the data, then we will get, yeah, there are two records are inserted at here, means 5 and 6, correct. And yeah, sixth one means there is a 2 to 1 record, means let's say here 2, then 2, and in child sp we inserted only one record. But in case uh, what happened in child stored procedure, there is a some error occurred, so it is going to be failed, correct. And in this case we are means we have to roll back the complete transaction, means let's say if any error occurred in the child proc, so we are doing the rollback of entire transaction. So instead, suppose my requirement is I have to save if any error occurred after that statement, then what I have to do, I have to save this part as a permanently. Means I don't want to roll back. Means what definition is saying means save point is the point in a transaction in which roll back the transaction back to the certain point without rolling back the entire transaction. Correct. So no need to roll back the entire transaction. So what I will do, I will save means I will save the transaction at S1, and after that I want this data means whatever the result of this means yes, no, miss, pass or a fail, still I want data till the S1. Correct. So after of this means S1, so I'm not worry about it means either it's a fail, but I want this data. Correct. So for that, what we have to do here, there is a save transaction S1. So save point is created. So we have to mention the that point means rollback transaction from miss S1 means S1 is saved. Before of that there are multiple statements, so they can execute it, means they will execute it, and after that there is a no any result of this SQL statement persist in the database. So let's try. First of all, execute the proc. Okay, then yes, execute. Yeah, it is already executed, clearing the table. Okay, right now table don't have any data, right? And then execute the stored procedure call. So yeah, tran count is 1, then 2. Okay, and let's see what is the data in the table. Sorry, the result will be because it is not executed, so I executed it again. And so what is the result when we execute? So trans count, then in main stored procedure there is a 1, in child stored procedure there is a 2, and there is a error occurred. Correct. So we are come out from that block and we are going to the main block. Correct. And let's say here, so means whatever the control we are getting from here means, so that can be transferred to the rollback transaction as a S1 means still the S1 we have a data. Yeah, if we see there are two records means in student and student contact we have information about the first student. Here you can see we inserted, and same thing you can implement for the miss S2 means if we place S2 at here, then in database we will get this data means Mahesh and Ajay, both the records we will get means out of means here there is a two records, here is a two records, and we are getting the error while inserting the third record means calling the stored procedure. So that result will not persist because we are rolling back to the till the S2. Correct. So this is the saving the transaction purpose means this is the proper use case means after means there is a different statements in the miss one insert one update, and there are multiple SQL statement, but you want to persist the some SQL statement is necessary at that time. After that you can make the as a save transaction. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. If you like it, please share it and subscribe my channel. Thank you very much. Bye bye.